Now we are going to do the one-shot revision of the Rattrap story from Flamingo textbook for CBSE class 12. I hope story to pada hoga, you would have read the story. I hope you have also seen the explanation video put on this channel for students who want to understand it in English. See, one of the big mistakes that many students, especially those in CBSE, do is to consume the explanation in Hindi. No harm if that's what makes you understand better. Absolutely no issues. The problem comes in the examination because you continue to think in Hindi and then you have to translate that into English, and the Hindi explanations most often don't use any of the keywords, so you are struggling. You're writing it in your own language without using any of the keywords. So the choice is yours if you want to, even at this stage, understand it in English or not. Let's do the one-shot revision series. The setting of the story, as you're aware, is in the iron mines of Sweden. The harsh industrial environment. I mean, much of the language of the story also kind of conveys the roughness, the harshness of that environment, the feeling of the trap, which the title also conveys. It protagonist struggles and the societal inequality is present. Please use this phrase, which is why I've written this. Societal, the inequalities of society. Please use that in your answer. Who is the protagonist? He's a nameless vagabond. Vagabond is another term you should use in your answers. Who makes and sells rat traps. He's initially depicted as a petty thief with a very pessimistic worldview. Another important key phrase, because he's not a very hopeful kind of a person. He doesn't have anything positive think, the world is good today, the weather is good, it's a nice day. No, he has a very negative view of the world. He believes that the world is a rat trap designed to exploit people. So he looks at himself as a victim. So he suffers from the victimhood syndrome. Another important phrase. So the world as a rat trap is one of the main themes of this story. The central metaphor suggests that materialistic pursuits and greed can trap individuals. Whatever I've highlighted in dark, please note it down in your notebook, leading to moral compromise and ultimately unhappiness. The second theme is transformation through kindness, extremely important. The story emphasizes the power of compassion and generosity, which comes through the character of Edla, to redeem even those who have strayed. Redeem means, the vagabond is someone who has strayed from the path of goodness, but she manages to bring him back. The transformation that takes place towards the end of the story is the significant part, and it takes place through the virtue of kindness. Then the other theme is of social inequality, and that is pretty much evident through the story. The stark contrast between the wealthy ironmaster and the impoverished peddler, the person who makes rat traps. It highlights the disparities, the social inequality, and the challenges faced by the people who are not so fortunate. Then loneliness and companionship. I found this a great theme. It doesn't come through in many of the books, etc., that you read, but I found this whole thing, the crofter, who's kind of longing for companionship of some kind, that he's willing to make friends even with a stranger. The crofter and the ironmaster's eagerness for company underscores the basic human need for connection and the isolating effects of poverty and social exclusion. That's why I've written this is an important point. Please make a note of this. Key events. The peddler's view. He reflects on his rat traps and he develops a very cynical, as I said, a very negative view, pessimistic view of the world, believing that it is designed to entrap people, to trap people with its alluring baits. It will kind of, just like in a rat trap, you put a bread or a piece of cheese, right, in order to lure the rat inside the trap. Similarly, he believes that people like him are kind of lured with the help of baits. Then the key event is of theft and escape, because he steals that kronas from the crofter's house. Tempted by the sight of the crofter's money, the peddler steals 30 kroner and flees into the woods. However, he becomes lost and feels trapped, realizing that he has fallen victim to the very trap he envisioned. He knew that there would be a trap, yet he fell into the trap. encounter with the ironmaster. He's mistaken. Now it's a case of mistaken identity. He's mistaken for the captain, an old acquaintance. The peddler is invited to the ironmaster's home for Christmas. He initially declines, fearing exposure, but eventually accepts Edla Ibelmanson's kind invitation. Edla's compassion, an extremely important event in the story. She is genuinely concerned about the welfare, and more so because it's Christmas. So there is a religious angle that around Christmas we should be generous and charitable and try to do good for someone or the other. So prompting a desire for redemption. So he gets transformed as a result. Then finally the Christmas gift. Before leaving, the peddler returns the stolen money to Edla along with the rat trap and a letter signed Captain Vostal. The act signifies his transformation and his rejection of his former life of theft and deceit. Now, these are the important symbolic things which have been mentioned in the story. One, of course, is the rat trap, the most important one. It represents the temptations and the pitfalls of a materialistic world, that you get tempted and you get trapped as a result. Then the forest where he gets lost. It symbolizes the peddler's feelings of being trapped by his own choices and circumstances. Then the symbolism of Christmas, because it represents forgiveness, it represents a new beginning, a new hope, right? Her kindness, Edla's kindness and the peddler's transformation occur during the Christmas season, right? Highlighting the redemptive power of the holiday. These three symbols, please make a note of it, take a screenshot. This is important. These three symbols of the rat trap, forest, and the Christmas festival, extremely important. Ending. The story concludes on a hopeful note, suggesting that even individuals hardened by circumstance can find redemption through compassion and understanding. Compassion and understanding, I repeat, important keywords to use in your answers. The peddler's decision to return the stolen money and adopt a new identity symbolizes his commitment to a more honest life. Okay, so I hope with this, I'm not saying this is an alternative to not reading the text. You should read the text at least twice before your examination. Listen to my explanation video if you have any doubts, and then go through this. It will really help you making your answers that much better. The short answers or the long answer questions that may come, you could get some googly questions. For example, imagine that you are Edla. You have got the gift. You want to write a letter to the peddler thanking him for the gift. Now you need to use your imagination. You could get those kind of questions also, right? So you need to kind of think laterally, and that can happen only if you, one, understand the story, two, understand the themes and the symbolism of the story, right? If you understand these two, trust me, you will be able to answer any question that comes from this chapter or any chapter which I'll be doing out here. So the MCQs first. Though the reader does not meet Captain Vostal in person, they encounter the captain symbolically. They means the readers. Okay, how? The ironmaster misidentifies the peddler. The reader realizes the peddler is actually Captain Vostal. Edla attends to the bears respectfully, caringly, and kindly as she should have the captain. The peddler accepts the error of his ways and displays the qualities expected of a captain. So how does he and the reader, you and me, how do we encounter the captain symbolically? This is the key word. This is the key word. So always, I repeat, as I've been saying in every video, read the question very carefully, because all these options in a way are correct, but this is what we need to focus on. So the correct option is option D. But even so, the business was not especially profitable. So he had to resort to both begging and petty thievery to keep body and soul together. Body and soul together. Okay, now the question is asking which sentence does not use the idiom to keep body and soul together in the same way as it has been used. So what you need to do is to understand how it has been used in the story and in this particular line, and then read the four options and then see which is the incorrect one. So here you see the four one. The correct the sentence which does not use the idiom is C, because 1, 2, A, B, and D are talking similarly about the problems, but C is talking about a spa session, which is rejuvenating, which is positive, and hardly what the peddler is talking about. So the correct option is C. The idiom to keep body and soul together means to survive, especially with difficulty, by meeting basic needs like food, shelter, and clothing, roti, kapda, or makan, right? So that's what, to keep body and soul together, that's what it means. In options A, B, and D, the idiom is used in its traditional sense of barely managing to survive. However, in option C, the idiom is incorrectly used to refer to rejuvenation or self-care, which does not align with the original meaning. I hope this is helping you understand, helping you revise very effectively. Okay. Imagine that the peddler from the Rattrap turned his life around. This is from one of the papers which has been released by the CBSE. Decided to write about his experience. Which of the following is likely to be the peddler's book title from the popular books given below? The Power of Positive Thinking, Radical Kindness, Self-Love Experiment, or Overcoming Fear? The correct answer is B, Radical Kindness. In the Rat Trap, why did the peddler sign off as Captain Vostal in his letter to Edla? Because in those days, Edla knew that it was highly respectable to address someone like that. No, because it was the name of the person the Ironmaster and Edla had mistaken him for. Because Edla had raised him to the position of captain with her kind nature. Because it was his real name, but he had hidden his true identity from Edla. The correct answer is C. In the rat trap, which of these did the peddler think were his rat traps? The entire forest, the crofter. Now you have 5 options here, and you have been given these kind of things. It's a very MBA level CAT kind of answer. CAT exam में, ZAT exam में इस तरह के questions आते हैं, where the options are so close you get very confused. Okay, I've been helping my daughter prepare for this examination, and it has been a very fascinating journey, as well as very demanding, very, very demanding. I'll tell you the results when they finally come. The entire forest, the crofter's profitable cow, the crofter's hanging wallet, which of these are true? So the correct option is, of course, 3, the hanging wallet, and the Ironmaster's offer of food and lodging. He refers to it as a lion's den, right? So the correct option would be B. Based on the ending of the story, what is the central theme? We've already discussed the theme. Man's inherent goodness, man's opportunistic tendencies, man's perspective of the world as one big trap, man's determination to change his circumstances. So what, based on the ending of the story, mind you, as I said, read the question always very carefully. So ending of the story ke basis par, what is the central theme? The correct option is option A, inherent goodness. Why did the peddler choose one of his own rat traps as a Christmas present for Edla? Please read the 4 options. B तो नहीं होगा, A नहीं होगा, C नहीं होगा. So the correct option is D. How does the Christmas setting contribute to the story's message? Yeah, this is what we spoke about in the revision notes. A. Let's look at an extract based question. Please read this and then I will scroll it further down. So this is from the ending of the story, what he writes to Edla, and this is what he has written, the letter that he had written, signing off as the captain. So this is from the last passage of the story, the rat trap. So what are the 2 questions? Which of the following cannot be attributed to the peddler according to the above extract? Is it indebtedness, reform, self-pity, or self-awareness? Cannot be attributed. Cannot be attributed. So he's not kind of feeling pity. So C. The word frame has been used to indicate a rigid structure that surrounds something like a picture. Please read the question. Choose the option that does not list the meaning of frame. So if you see, there are other meanings of frame. So you need to know frame, it has been used here as a noun, but the frame is also used as a verb, right? So something like be is when it is used as a verb. This again is a noun, a frame, 24 frames, which we talk about, right? In a particular, when you're doing a movie, when you're shooting, there are 24 frames. A person's, in fact, there is a company called 24 frames. A person's body with reference to size or build, again, this is a noun, oh, he is of a large frame, which means that he is very heavy build. So the covering of for an utensil is the right answer out here. So let's look at some short and long answers. Now, in what sense was the world a big rat trap according to the peddler? I've tried to give you in this question and answer slightly an overview so that you would be able to use elements from those in your answers. According to the peddler, you can just keep taking screenshots so that it's just easy for you. According to the peddler, the world was full of temptations like a big rat trap, just like a rat trap tempted with cheese and pork. The world offered riches and joy. So please make those kind of connections between the rat trap and the world. So the pork and cheese becomes important. Shelter and food, heat and clothing. When someone was tempted to touch them, it would close on him, and everything came to an end. A mistaken identity, this is from the CBSE specimen paper, led to the discovery of a new one for the rat trap peddler because he signs off as the captain. How did this impact him? He's mistaken for an old regiment comrade by the Iron Master, but at the end of the story, thanks to the kindness shown by the Iron Master's daughter, please remember that you need to stick to the word limit as far as CBSE is concerned. Okay, unlike state boards, where they are okay with long answers. He acquires the same identity of Captain Vostal. This new identity impacts him positively as he wants to behave like a real captain, returning the 30 kroner he stole from the crofter and gaining from the stature of the captain the power to clear himself. I have used a phrase from the story. This is something which will again earn you brownie points and extra marks. And no longer be a thief. The peddler is a reformed man. Now, this is an important question that can be asked either like this or like this, that why was he amused at the idea of the world being a rat trap? The peddler was amused at the idea of the world being a rat trap as the world had never been kind to him or accepted him. He was amused because he himself had not led a good life and envied those who led a better life than him. He thought that others got trapped while he was not lured by the temptations and was free. It gave him joy to think ill of the world in the form of this metaphor. Now, this is a slightly longer format question. Okay, there is more. Okay. What I told you, loneliness and the need for companionship, this I have written here. It's a running theme in the story. Each of the four characters, the crofter, Edla, the ironmaster, and the peddler, they all feel lonely and make an attempt to bond with others. The crofter lives alone and craves for company, and therefore, so you have to give it with the help of examples, right? So you're first talking about the crofter, then you talk about the ironmaster who lives with his daughter, but even though this thing, despite her suspicions and knowledge about the peddler's real self, insists on his stay because she also has no one else for company, right? The peddler loves to be left to himself, but is reformed as a result of Edla's compassion and generosity. He used to think ill of society, but now gains the power to clear himself. So the theme of human loneliness is significant because man is a social animal and living as a recluse. Recluse means someone who is isolated, is anathema. Anathema means is something which is not to be done to his basic nature. It's not something which comes naturally. We are all social animals, so we all want human company all the time. So with this, I come to the end of the revision one-shot series on video on the rat trap along with questions. I hope this was of use. Please do let me know, and then we will continue with our series here on CBSE with Sudhir. Tata, bye-bye. God bless you. Happy revision, happy learning, and lots of marks. Tata, bye.